Hello everyone, Adam Parry here, co-founder of Event Tech Live. We are just a few weeks away now from our 9th edition at our new venue, Excel. Very excited to be there. Today I'm actually on site at the studios of VX, and this is Roland Renshaw, the group CEO. VX are about 20 minutes away from the NEC, and today we're talking about our partnership because we've just partnered on this year's show.
That's right.
On digital twins. Roland, a little bit about yourself and what is a digital twin?
Good question, Adam. And just to say, we're really pleased to be partners with ETL and generally you guys, because you understand live, you understand hybrid and virtual. So we're doing a bit of live, but we're going to talk a bit of hybrid, talk a bit of virtual.
Absolutely.
So I'm the group CEO and I'm going to be talking at Event Technology Live in London about how to do the most successful virtual venue. The virtual venue is built on the VX platform, and the VX platform is what allows us to build digital twins. So digital twins is the thing that we're doing for ETL to offer to other exhibitors and stakeholders.
Absolutely. What are the benefits to a digital twin to an exhibitor at an event like Event Tech Live? Because you've been doing this quite a lot now and you've been doing it very successfully, quite some big brands and some well-known companies.
So we've been doing it over 10 years, so pre-COVID, important to mention. The really big advantage for us is that this gives you scope and it allows you to extend what is a physical event, because physical events are best, they're a good thing. You've got to have an audience, you've got to have invested parties, you've got to have that as a vehicle for what's going on. Digital works best for us when it's an addition to something that's happening live, whether that's a small event or a big event. So a digital twin is all about a really good 3D representation, photoreal, of what you're doing live, putting it online, and then getting that extra reach, that extra audience, that extra accessibility that you can from digital.
Absolutely. I think there's so much work and effort that I see from some of our exhibitors go into the physical environment, the physical experience that they present themselves as for our attendees. Now with hybrid events becoming a growing part of every event as I see it, it seems a waste not to have that captured in time and then as an experience for either A, those people that can't necessarily make it to the physical event for one reason or another, or that extended lifespan of that experience, because as Event Tech Live, we market and repurpose the content from Event Tech Live for at least 6 months per show. So lots of additional value and potential traffic and ROI for our exhibitors. And they're probably also going between events as well, right? So one company will exhibit like Event Tech Live, and then maybe they're at another event in 6 months or 3 months or something like that.
True. You get to reuse, as you said, a lot of your material. You know, as an exhibitor, you spend an awful lot of time on your presentation material, on your graphics, on your stand, on your design, on your experience, on, what's the user journey. It's probably part of a bigger campaign as well. So if that campaign and all that effort and all that investment is concentrated on 2 to 3 days, then if you could say, well, hey, can I use that for another few weeks or another few months or another year, or bridge the gap between 2 live events, then it's great reuse of resource. It's very sustainable as well, obviously, because it's online.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question around a scenario like Event Tech Live, where you're using a platform to live stream the content into for Event Tech Live, which is purpose built to enable matchmaking and networking. Is this complementary to an experience like that? Does it cannibalize it?
Yeah, it is, definitely. And the idea of ours is that it does an awful lot of things that some of the other platforms will do. It also integrates a lot of other platforms if you need to. So as a human, we look at things visually.
We do.
You navigate visually, you drive a car visually, you watch the TV visually, it's visual. So for us, the real USP of the VX platform and an instance built on the platform is that it's visual. It is photorealistic. You go through a venue, through an event, you see things you recognise, you click on, you interact with them. So that's the kind of encompassing bit that we do, where you enter an environment, you feel like you're there. A lot of the other technology plugs in. Because we're not going to be YouTube. We're not going to be Teams. We're not going to be Zoom or Gatherly. but those things can work inside the space that we've got. So I think that's some of the things we've been talking about, isn't it? About how ETL goes online before, after the event, how we plug in other platforms that maybe are more focused on a live environment, but can also run on because they're digital, and then extend that experience.
I think what I love about the digital twin platform and the team here at VX is that you can either have a totally bespoke venue created, designed for exactly how you want it.
With go crazy, make it look amazing.
Have a jungle, have a spaceship, have anything that your mind desires. Or if you want to recreate that physical venue, maybe with the NEC, the Excel, maybe you're on the Sunborn yacht at Dr. Excel as well.
Yeah, which would be fab.
It would be, have a nice little yacht. You can recreate that as well, so basically you can do pretty much anything or any experience you want with the team that you have here, right, Roland?
We can, and again, the big difference is it's photo real. So something we're going to do, I think, in a minute, is we're going to have a look at a VX venue. We're going to have a look at an ETL branded VX venue, which if you're going to London, then you're going to be able to log in and have a look at. So we're going to have a look at it here and we'll show you what we can do with that. So for venues where you have a physical existing place, then it can be an exact digital twin. It really is a faithful reproduction of what you've got. We literally put some pigeons on the roof of a building for somebody the other day. Chewing gum on the floor, it can look real. So from that point of view, if you've got a physical venue and you want to extend, you absolutely can. It is not just about replacing physical, it's very much alongside.
So one of the really apparent value propositions to a show organiser like us, Roland, when I first saw the digital twin experience was what we've actually done in the past. And I was explaining this to you earlier, wasn't I, about us using Matterport.
Matterport with the 360s. Yeah, it works really well, doesn't it? It's good.
Fantastic. For those that aren't familiar with Matterport, Matterport is a camera that you can come in, bring, take 360-degree pictures, and it creates a virtual environment or a replication, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And it's a very good fidelity. So it looks real because it is real, it's a photograph. But it does fix it as a point in time. And I think that can sometimes be one of the things that is a hold up on it. And it's one of the really big things that the VX platform as such gets over.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. So we've used this technology 2018, 2019 to recreate EventTech Live. We bring this company in at the end of day one of the show. They film the entire show, render it, and then we upload our content from the stages that we've recorded. We upload content for exhibitors, and we've used it as our on-demand program. Really successfully, had thousands of people engage with it from multiple countries for about 6 to sometimes longer, 12 months, and it provides a lot more value back to the exhibitor. Great place for us to host content rather than YouTube or other platforms that we can't control.
Yeah, definitely.
However, there's a massive downside for us.
There is.
And that is not being able to change any of that at any point, should we wish to. So things have changed for us. We now have EventTech Live, which is 6 months, EventTech Live Las Vegas, which is 6 months after EventTech Live London. We're going to want to change that, and you can do that with a digital twin experience, can't you?
Yes, and that's the big deal for us, because with the VX platform, if you can run a social media account, then you can run a VX platform instance. And it had to be easy because occasionally I have to do it.
Yeah.
So the idea is that once you've 3D rendered your environment, then that goes live, but all of your content is managed on the fly. So anything you want to change, brochures, information, hotspots, things like that, videos, video pins, that can be swapped out on the fly. If you want to change your renders, so change the style, the layout, the design of what you do, then it's like changing your graphics. We render it out again, we load it back on the platform, hey presto, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So it gives you that flexibility. And I think the difference with what we do now is that it's photorealistic. So it does absolutely look like real. So we can change virtual reality very easily, but it gives you the same amount of immersion as a visitor. It looks familiar, it navigates nicely. So hopefully the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you'll see that later with how the team at VX have incorporated some of our brand identity into the look and the feel of the venue.
Yeah.
And I'm already thinking about seasonal holidays and maybe Christmas tree in there, pumpkins for Halloween, things like that.
We could go Halloween, not too spooky though, because it has to be 18.
Well, we don't want to scare people.
No, we don't want to
Just
scare
yet.
people. So In terms of what we're going to look at next, we talked about physical venues.
We did, yeah.
And if somebody owns and operates a physical venue, the idea of digital twin for us is that you can completely reproduce a live venue. That means that you can extend your audience, you can extend the events can happen digitally in parallel, while you've got obviously your live events happening one at a time in sequence at a point in time, and then you use that material to extend each one of those events. So it's value add, bigger audience, better accessibility, and there is no downside for a physical venue. Literally, we're building a lot of physical venues that are absolute reproductions of a physical live thing, and they're going to be used and they are being used to extend events. So that's something that we're really keen on.
I think the accessibility point is really, really key at this moment in time, and actually should always be a really important point, because most virtual event platforms that organisers are using at the moment for matchmaking, meeting, maybe streaming content when the event happens, they kind of close themselves down after maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, because the interaction level's not there in terms of audience numbers. But as an experience, a little interesting stat for you, Roland, that I found out the other day, there are 1.2 billion people on this planet with some form of accessibility requirement.
Right, that's a big number.
It's massive. It's about 20% of the working age workforce.
Right,
and
that makes a lot of sense.
I think this is a real cool tool to be able to give people an immersive experience, even if they didn't manage to make the physical event, if it's running in parallel, but at any point, rather than having to pull them away from maybe their home or where they have technology in place to make it more accessible for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely what we're all about. So, from our point of view, we mentioned earlier COVID, we mentioned webinar fatigue, we mentioned, I'm sick to death of things being online. We mentioned resistance from the traditional events industry for this because they want to get back on their feet. They want to be physical again. They want to meet each other again. And so does an audience to that extent.
Absolutely.
So that's very much still at the core of where we're coming from. During COVID, we did replace a lot of physical events. We allowed things to happen, for sure. But that's not what this was designed to do. What this was designed to do was to extend an actual physical event with a physical thing going on, and it was meant to bridge the gap between live events and provide that level of accessibility. So that's what we're hoping to do.
I think one of the really interesting things is it actually could be a tool to launch an event or launch a new product or service for an exhibitor. Maybe they want that trade show experience or that booth experience.
Sure, and you guys have got the audience.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think
it's got to be a show and a brand that people trust. I know what I'm going to get at Event Tech Live. Where do I go for my information?
Yeah.
Come to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Really exciting.
Okay. Quick cut, and we'll go to an online digital twin venue.